Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat and silence all mobile devices. The program is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General Manager and CEO of Halifax Harbor Bridges and your host, Steve Snyder.
Good morning. Like I said before, welcome back to Halifax. How was last night? Okay. We're going to start talks with IBTTA staff and our board about hosting again. Is that okay? Okay. Very good. Well, folks, it's my privilege this morning to introduce Mayor Mike Savage. On October the 15th, 2016, Mike Savage was elected Mayor of Halifax Regional Municipality for a second term, based on a platform of sustained progress in making the Halifax region a place where residents can live, belong, and thrive. Mayor Savage was first elected in 2012, running on a platform to make Halifax the most livable, entrepreneurial, and inclusive city in the country. These core principles continue to shape his work at City Hall and in the community. Mayor Savage is an active member of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, Big City Mayors Caucus, and a strong voice in support of local economic development, immigration, social equity, and infrastructure investment. You hear that part? Infrastructure investment. So, in October 2015, Mayor Savage was selected by his counterparts from across the country to co-chair the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Syrian Refugee Response Task Force. The role allowed him to draw on his long political experience to help cities The role allowed him to draw on his long political experience to help draw cities together to share best practices in response to the Syrian refugee resettlement. In the fall of 2015, Mayor Savage became president of the World Energy Cities Partnership, an international organization of cities with significant energy sector interest. Prior to his election, Mayor Savage became president of the prior to his election, Mike Savage served as a member of Parliament for Dartmouth Cole Harbour from 2004 until 2011, during which time he played a national role as official opposition critic for human resources, social development, and status of persons with disabilities. Please give him a warm welcome to Mayor Mike Savage.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I want to commend Stephen and all the organizers, Allison, and everybody who've put this conference on here in Halifax. I want to begin by recognizing that the land that we're on is the traditional land and the unceded land of the Mi'kmaq people. That's the indigenous people of this community. They've been here for some 13,000 years. In fact, they call this very area Jabuktuk, which means Great Harbor, and if you've been down by the water, you'll understand why. We have the second most natural deep harbor in the world, behind only Sydney, Australia. So that's what really defines us, is the ocean, and getting across that ocean every day, as I do multiple times, we rely on Steve and his team at the Bridge Commission. So I understand there's people here from over 24 countries, and many of you, can I just show, how many of you have never been in Halifax before? So it's quite a few of you. That's awesome. Well, welcome to Halifax. There's nothing I love more than welcoming people who come here for the first time. So I know that there's things you might have already seen, the rich history that we have here, the Halifax Citadel, which goes back many years, beautiful natural scenery on all parts of the municipality, incredible buildings like the Discovery Centre, our new Halifax, we call it new, it's 2014. Is that still new, Allison? You're a marketing person, yeah? New, wonderful Central Library, which was chosen as one of the top 10 new buildings in the world in 2014. Art Gallery of Nova Scotia. Oh yeah, and world-class drinking and dining establishments. Now, I tell people, because I've been to conferences where people, when they introduce the conference, they pull out their phone and they have an app for the people. Do you have one of those? Do you have an app here? Well, what you need to know, if you're looking for a place to eat or drink, take out your phone and throw it in the friggin' harbor, because you can go anywhere in Halifax, Dartmouth. You can't walk out a door of this place without coming to wonderful places to eat and drink. And I think some of you experienced that last night, right? Some of you didn't go that far, but you had a couple of drinks at some of our great places. It is a great time to be in Halifax. So we're experiencing, for our little mid-sized city, record-breaking population growth. The biggest year we ever had of year-over-year population growth was 2016. We then beat that in 2017, and we beat it again in 2018. We grew last year by over 8,500 net new people. For some of you that come from big cities, that may not seem like a lot, but for a city of 400 and some thousand, it's very significant for us. And what's really cool is a lot of that growth is international. So for years, cities like Halifax would benefit from declining populations in rural and suburban Atlantic Canada, but now that population is coming from away. And the really exciting thing, and they call this in my office the mayor's favorite statistic, young people once again are coming to Halifax. So for years they came to go to our schools. We have 7 universities and a community college right here in Halifax. People came here from around the world. And they love the quality of life, but a quality of life without a job is nothing. Now they have the jobs as well. So we're becoming younger and more diverse. I got a bunch of statistics that I won't go through them all. We've been ranked one of the best millennial hotspots in Canada. The BMO, Bank of Montreal Labour Market Report Card, ranked Halifax as the 3rd best city to find work in Canada, and 2nd in year-over-year job growth last year. The Global Startup Ecosystem Report identified Halifax as one of the top 15 ecosystems to watch in the world. We're experiencing record-breaking tourism, in part because of this building that you're in, but also the many other things that we have. TripAdvisor named Halifax number 4 on their list of top 10 destinations on the rise for 2018, along with places like Croatia and someplace in a place called Hawaii. So we're on that list as well. And this year, CNN identified Halifax as one of the top 3 2019 summer travel destinations. So it's good. Unprecedented development in Halifax. You can see cranes. In fact, one of them is hanging precariously after Hurricane Dorian last week that we have to remove safely. But there's a lot of development in the bridge, and I don't need to tell in the city, and I don't need to tell you how important it is to have the critical infrastructure like our 2 suspension bridges in a growing, living city. They are really things that connect us, physically for sure, but even more than that. Our Angus L. MacDonald Bridge opened on April the 2nd, 1955. Steve Snyder was already the CEO. 1955. It was a big deal, as our communities of Halifax and Dartmouth were united for the first time with an efficient transportation link and 24/7 access across the harbor. Prior to that, you had to take a long ride or get on a ferry. Last spring, the MacDonald completed work on a significant overhaul and a very impressive engineering feat, the Big Lift, a project that replaced the suspended spans of the bridge and raised the bridge about 2 meters to ensure that Halifax Harbor can continue to accommodate the wide range of vessels that play a critical role in our economy. We expect 300 cruise ships here this year, many of them yet to arrive, with the fall being a great time in Halifax. So that Big Lift was only the 2nd time that the suspended spans of a suspension bridge have been replaced while keeping the bridge open to traffic. The first time was the Lions Gate Bridge about a decade ago. Steve, somebody must have told me that. That sounds right, though? Okay. Was that your notes? Thank you for that if it was yours. There certainly were some headaches, but ultimately our residents understood the project was essential to extend the life of the bridge and to ensure that it remains safe. So we give a lot of kudos to the Halifax Harbor Bridges for their efforts in reducing the impact on commuters and ensuring that the Big Lift went as smoothly as possible. And I can tell you, I still have the app on my phone, which I check whenever I leave my house in Dartmouth. So we're an amalgamated municipality. Dartmouth is on the other side. We call it the City of Sun because it never rains in Dartmouth. Even when it's raining in Halifax, it's beautiful in Dartmouth. But every time I leave Dartmouth to come to work in Halifax, I check that app to see what it's telling me about the work that's ongoing. Steve, you're a past president of this organization and well regarded by the people in this room. I want you and your team to know how much we appreciate you bringing this event to Halifax and the great work that you do on behalf of all of the citizens in Nova Scotia. Last time this was here was in 1999. I'm glad you're here again. Hope you come back soon. I gave you some statistics. I'll leave you with my favorite, which is that Matador magazine identified Halifax as one of the top 20 destinations in the world to party in before you die. Think about that. I know your work is about safety, but I know you want to have a little bit of fun as well. We thank you for coming to Halifax. We wish you the very best in your work. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Walala.